The Entergy CEO and other city officials are getting ready to share updates on the ice storm restoration process. Thank you for being here with me. I'm Mallory West. The briefing is just now starting, so we're going to listen in live to those updates from Entergy and city officials.
Louisiana. We haven't had an ice storm like this, the severity. We have ice in some places of 4 inches. So before we start, we're going to let the President of Entergy, Philip May, say a few words. Philip's the guy that's got all the people out of electricity, if you want to know who he is. He's the President of Entergy. But we're hoping and praying that we can get people back on as quickly as possible. Philip?
Thank you, Commissioner Campbell.
You're welcome.
So good afternoon. I'm Philip May. I'm President and CEO of Entergy, Louisiana. We're standing at Ike Hamilton Center here, and it really represents sort of the magnitude of the restoration effort that is underway. We are housing 1,800 restoration workers at this site. We are serving 9,000 meals a day to our restoration workers at this site. You know, our workers have 16 hours of work, then they have a mandatory 8 hours off. When those folks come in and park their trucks, a whole new shift takes over to maintain those trucks, get gas in them, get supplies into those vehicles, get the laundry done, and get a plan ahead for the next day. So this is an round-the-clock operation working to hasten and get the power back on as quickly as possible. Look, I want to begin by thanking the people of North Louisiana and communities across this region for your continued patience and understand as we work through the impacts of this historic ice storm. I also want to thank Commissioner Campbell, Mayor Mitchell, Mayor Ellis, and the other state and local officials for their leadership and strong partnership during this unprecedented event. Over the past 24 hours, we continue to make progress as weather conditions have improved. That said, our teams as we complete more detailed assessments and continue to move deeper and deeper into the affected areas, the full extent of the damage to our system has become even clearer. At 2 o'clock today, approximately 34,000 customers remain out of service across North Louisiana. That's down from a peak of 92,000. Now that number will remain out will fluctuate. Now during the day, as our workers go out to repair lines and so forth, you may see us switch the power off to ensure we can keep our line workers safe during that time. So you'll see that number fluctuate as we go forward. Since the beginning of this event, we have restored 104,000 customers. Now you're thinking, well, only 92,000 was out. One of the unique things that we have seen with this storm is that as we're restoring power, we are seeing additional damage to our system. We're out there repairing one section of line when we hear cracking and trees falling and limbs falling, creating more damage to our system. So what that means is, in order for us to get that number count down from 92,000, we have to restore 2 customers for every customer count that's coming down, because it's truly 2 steps forward and 1 step back because the ongoing damage that we're seeing to our system. Now we believe that we'll see less of that because, as you can see, the ice is gone. We still have a lot of heavily damaged trees that can endanger that system. We're anticipating some winds. We'll touch on that as well. As of today, our system is largely assessed. This is an unprecedented storm for us in this part of the state. We've never seen this much ice or this much damage to our system. At this point, 900 utility poles, about 500 miles of distribution line is down, 200 transformers. We do expect those numbers to continue to grow as we continue to see damage to our system, and as we get deeper into our system, we're continuing to see more damage. As we continue to make progress in the most heavily affected areas, we can now refine our restoration times, affirming that the majority of our customers will be restored by tomorrow evening, Saturday, January 31st. We do expect 15,000 more customers will be restored today, and we'll make great progress tomorrow as well. I do want to make sure we emphasize, when we say that the majority of our customers will be back on tomorrow evening, that's 90% of our customers. That last 10% will oftentimes be customers. In order to store 2 customers down a small road somewhere, we might have to replace 5 transmission lines and a transformer. And so those last bits of customers are going to take a long time. I want to assure you that we will be here with these crews for the duration until we get every customer on. Now, as of 2 p.m., I do want to give you some customer counts. Ouachita has 23,500 customers out. That is 70% restored from the original damage that we saw. Jackson Parish now has 2,900 customers out. That is 70% restored. Richland Parish now has 1,600 customers out. That is 70% restored. Bienville, 920 customers out, 90% restored. That last 920 is going to take a little more time because it's in more difficult conditions and what we call onesie-twosies. You have to do a whole lot of dirt work to get 1 or 2 customers on. Caldwell Parish, 1,000 customers still out, 85% restored. Wynn Parish, 970 customers, that's 80% restored. Madison, 760 at 85%. West Carroll, 500 customers out, that is 80% restored. And then Grant Parish has only 100 customers out, we're 90% restored there. I do want to emphasize again, we will get to 90%. Our plan is to have 90% of our customers restored tomorrow night. There will still be customers in those hard to reach areas that have significant damage to repair that will take additional time. We will be working to inform those customers what those ultimate restoration times will be, and we're making specific plans for those customers. I do want to emphasize, we will be here for the remainder. An example of that is 75 poles must be replaced to restore service to a single group of 110 customers. The 75 poles is a whole lot of restoration crews working several days just to get that done. That is in the Warden area of Richland Parish. In areas that we expect restoration to last beyond that date tomorrow includes rural areas in Ouachita Parish near Drew, Shinney, and Cadeville. In Richland Parish, in the extreme eastern portions near Poverty Point. In Jackson Parish, in the town of Jonesboro, and rural areas near Weston. Also in East Carroll parishes, rural areas near Transylvania and Lake Providence. In Bienville, in rural areas near Saline. In Caldwell, northwest area of the parish, and in Madison, in the northeast area of the parish. We will be available after this to provide you specifics on that if you didn't catch all of that. And also in West Carroll Parish, near Epps, Pioneer, and Forest. We will be following up directly with customers and local elected officials whose restoration will extend beyond this Saturday to ensure they have the most up-to-date information about their outage. We're committed to seeing this restoration through. We'll be here to the end. In addition, we mentioned the fact that we continue to see damage to our system from falling limbs and ice. The ice is largely gone, but the damage to trees is still here. We anticipate seeing winds in the 30 to 35 mile an hour range coming through tomorrow night, through this weekend. With that wind coming, we do have vegetation crews that are out proactively looking for hangers on and leaners, as we call them. These are the limbs that put our infrastructure at risk. They're out proactively removing those limbs where they see opportunities to do so. But even with that effort, we anticipate with those winds that we could see additional outages leading to additional restoration and perhaps extended time to get that done. I wanted to note that supporting this effort is a workforce of 4,200 people, including thousands of line workers, vegetation crews, damage assessors, and support teams. many of who are staged right here. I also want to note that when those 16-hour days end for those line workers, next shift shows up to make sure we're prepared to have those folks roll out of here the next morning with an action plan so they can be productive through the day. We're continuing to work closely with Commissioner Campbell, Mayor Mitchell, Mayor Ellis, and our emergency partners to support customer information centers, warming centers, and other critical facilities throughout this region. Information on those centers can be found at entergy.com. I continue to be in contact with these officials and other officials, including the governor and federal officials, including Speaker Johnson, who sends his thoughts and prayers for the people in North Louisiana, but importantly, also offered resources, assuring us that we could get what we need to have this restoration be expedited and the region come back successfully. As we continue this work, ask for your help to please give our crews time and space they need to do their job safely. It's a challenging job, it can be dangerous, and for their protection, please give them space. We know this storm has taken a real toll on families and communities and businesses. Please know that our team remains fully committed, and we will continue working around the clock until the last customer is restored. Now, I'd like to ask Chad McMillan, who's Senior Manager for Entergy Distribution, to come up and talk a little bit about some of the challenging conditions that we're seeing as we work to restore power across North Louisiana. Chad, come on up.
Thank you, Philip.
Thank you.
All right, good afternoon. So first and foremost, I just want to thank each and every one of you. Thank you to the people of North Louisiana for your patience and kindness, and the way you've looked out for one another through this storm. I was actually speaking to Friday earlier, and we were talking about how strong the community is here in North Louisiana. And that's something you see, not just in Monroe, West Monroe, but you see it in Arcadia, Sibley, Minden, you see it in Bastrop, you see it in Grayson, you see it everywhere. So thank you all for that, for rallying around us and helping to support us through this challenging time. This is home for me. These are the same roads that I drive. It's the same neighborhoods that I know, in the same communities my family and friends live in. Being part of the effort to restore power here, it isn't just a job, it's personal. And whenever I say that, I'm not just saying that for myself, but that's at Entergy as a whole. Looking out here, looking at a gentleman out there right now, and he knows exactly what I'm talking about. It's home and it's a family. So we're working to help put our communities back on their feet, and that in itself, that responsibility, it means a great deal to each and every one of us here at Entergy. As things have warmed up, we continue to find problems, as Philip has mentioned. Trees that look stable the day before are falling down the next day. Poles that we're holding started to give way. Lines we repaired once having to be fixed again, and sometimes again because something else nearby finally failed. I'll say just yesterday, working to restore service to a lift station in Jonesboro, Louisiana. The crews finalized repairs, boomed down, and actually got ready to mobilize to switch that line back in to energize those customers. And as they were mobilizing to the switches, another tree fell across the road, damaged the line again, therefore taking more time for us to restore power to that one customer. So we are still seeing that it is not as private and not as frequent as we're witnessing it before, but it's still there. There's a lot of safety hazards out there, not just for us, not just here at Entergy, but the community. As Philip mentioned, the hangars, that's real. It was a local team that was injured due to that, and they're still out there with winds coming in this weekend. We all need to be mindful of that. Watch for those overhead hazards. So, this kind of storm, it slowed the restoration in a lot of ways, and ways more unpredictable than what folks are used to. But that doesn't mean the work has stopped for a second. And we're proud of the progress we made. Our crews are out from daylight to dark and through the night, working in cold, muddy, dangerous conditions. These men and women, they all live here too. They're restoring power in communities just like their own, and they're giving it everything they've got. Their safety matters because sending everyone home safe at the end of the day is part of doing this job right. And that's something that we must do, is send everybody home safe every day. That's a priority. So we know being without power is more than just an inconvenience, especially in the cold, and we don't take that lightly. We appreciate the patience people have shown, all of you have shown, and we ask for a little more as we push through the last and hardest parts of this restoration. We're not slowing down, and we're not giving up. We'll keep fixing what we find, even when it means going back to the same spot more than once, and we won't stop until every customer who can safely receive power is back on. So at Entergy, here in North Louisiana and everywhere, that's our commitment, and we intend to keep it. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Chad. At this time, we'd like to invite up Public Service Commissioner Foster Campbell. Commissioner.
Thank you. Glad to be in Monroe today, West Monroe. I feel real close to this site. Ike Hamilton was a dear friend of mine. He used to come to Bossier City just for a little history lesson here. Every Thursday he sold cattle at Clark's auction barn. Prince Clark was from West Monroe. He and Ike were best friends, and I was here the night they cut the ribbon here. And I want to congratulate West Monroe, the mayor and the mayor of Monroe, for making this a site that's known not only in Louisiana but all over the country, because people in the horse business talk about Ike. If you're in Fort Worth, they know about it. If you're in Oklahoma City, they know all about it. If you're in San Antonio, they know all about the Ike. So y'all have done a great job out here. You got 2 hotels or 3 hotels, and you really developed this. Some of the convention centers we put together in Louisiana has not done this well. Some of them, to be honest with you, was probably a mistake. But this is one of the nicest things in North Louisiana. It's a diamond, and y'all ought to be very proud of it. I congratulate the mayor and the mayor of Monroe, the city council people putting this together. You're known all over the country for the Ike Hamilton Expo Center. Thanks for coming today. I called the mayors and asked them to put this together. You couldn't have enough people talking about the problems that we have. We have problems. I never will forget, I was in a black church in Ringo, Louisiana one time. I heard a black preacher make a great sermon. I told him it was probably one of the best sermons I ever had. And the name of his sermon, if it in one thing, it's another. He was talking about electricity going out. He said, when I had kids, you come home, your kids got new books for schools, the car don't run, wash machine don't run. If it ain't one thing, it's another. That's exactly what's happening here. You get things going, something else breaks down. But it's not, it's one thing, it's another. We've had terrible ice and very cold weather. We've escaped a good bit of it in northwest Louisiana where I live. SWEPCO has been able to keep the power on. It's simply because we hadn't had the severity of ice that you had in northeast Louisiana. I want to thank people for coming today, and to know that you have a group of people on your side. I'll tell you what, I don't work for Entergy. If anybody thinks that I work for the people, and I'm going to ask some tough questions when we get to Baton Rouge. One thing is I want to know how well were you prepared? Being without power 7 days, this is a week, is way too much. We've had some tragedy. 9 people passed away during this storm, 3 from cold weather. And there's some questions that's got to be answered. And I'm going to be prepared to ask the questions to make sure that Entergy was up to date on everything they should have been up to date. And I'm not saying they wouldn't, but there's some facts that have to be rendered to make sure that we know exactly how well they were prepared for this storm. You never know about storms like this. When they come in, we haven't had one in a long time, 4 or 5 years in North Louisiana, and this happened to be the worst. I appreciate the rural electric co-ops. They're here today helping out with the people that they represent. As you know, we have 8 rural electric co-ops in Louisiana, 3 investor-owned utilities, SWEPCO, CLECO, and Entergy. Entergy by far is the largest. But the 8 rural electric co-ops provide electricity to the rural areas of Louisiana, which is extremely important. They were, as you know, the rural electric co-ops came under Franklin Roosevelt, and he decided that people out in the rural areas needed electricity too, so we created them, and they do a fine job. But it's very important that we give them and help them provide what they need to keep people in the rural parts of Louisiana comfortable. At this time, we got the mayor of West Monroe here, the mayor of Lake Providence, the mayor of Monroe here, and we appreciate you coming. I called today and asked you to come, and you came. If you want to say something, I'd be glad for you. Why don't you come up and say something? Mayor Friday.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
All right, appreciate it. Thank you, Commissioner, Philip, Chad. Thank you for all the work. First, I want to address all the linemen and the utility workers that are out there, all the people from Entergy that are within our city. We want to welcome all of you. I hope you felt welcome since you've been here. I've really enjoyed hearing the stories from the field of our people getting to meet your linemen, helping them out, driving through neighborhoods, seeing families come out of their homes, clapping that you're coming down their streets. And I just want to say thank you for coming here and restoring power for our people. Commissioner Philip, I know that there will be conversations beyond this to talk about how we make our grid as resilient as we've asked our people to be. And I know that you're up for that challenge. I know we're up for that challenge. A lot of times we deal with water and sewer. That's all we deal with. And we never would expect a winter storm like this to blow through our community. But I just want to remind our residents just the level of devastation that has happened throughout our communities. And again, I want to remind you, this is not just a Ouachita Parish issue. This is 10, 15 parishes. This goes all the way up to Nashville. This is total devastation that we've been able to see. And when I get out there and I look at it, this is hurricane level damage that has been done to the grid. And what these linemen are doing are nothing short of spectacular. The number of people they've been able to put back on the grid is something that a lot of people don't understand. They don't have the optics to understand the conditions that you're working in, and I just want to say thank you. One other thing, I want to talk to our residents directly. One thing that has surfaced from this, and something that as mayor I take to heart, just the number of stories of people that don't have relatives, that don't have anybody to call. I continue to urge you to talk to your neighbors. I can recount multiple stories of going to doors of elderly people who just don't have family anymore, or they don't have family that live close and their power is out and their phones aren't charged. So I'll continue to ask our neighbors, check on your neighbors, bring them food. You'll never understand what a knock on that door means for them to know that somebody's thinking about them and somebody cares for them. And so continue to reach out to your neighbors, continue to help one another. And again, I just want to say to everybody that has helped out, the resiliency of this community, the spirit of this community is unbroken. I see it every single time I step out and drive these streets with people and volunteers helping. And so I'm very proud of you as our community. I'm very proud of the leadership that you see here with all these mayors, my friend Gerald Brown over there. I just want to say thank you for your leadership in this time, and thank you for reaching out to one another and working together to get this thing taken care of.
Thank you, Mayor Ellis. Next, we'd like to invite up Stacy Mitchell, Mayor, City of West Monroe. Mayor.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. You know, it's difficult to leave work because at City of West Monroe, we're all working. It's all hands on deck. But it's also important to get out information. And so I'm here today to hopefully provide some information. I do want to say that West Monroe is very happy that we have been able to host the energy workers, all the contractors. I know there's people from all over the United States here working here at the Ike, and of course the overflow at the convention center. So thank y'all. Y'all have been great. It is a massive operation. The damage is widespread, and to see it all in action is very impressive. So I do want to say thank you to Entergy for all of that. if you're like me and most of the people that I have talked to, I've done some wellness checks, phone's been ringing, messages, etc. We're very appreciative. We know Entergy's out there working. We appreciate hearing the updates from Philip May and everyone else, but honestly, they just want to know when you're going to get your lights back on. So thank y'all for doing all that, but I mean, it is what it is. Day 6 without electricity, people's tensions are high, frustrations are high. So thank you for continuing to work, not only in the, I guess, very hard, challenging conditions that we have with weather and with the continuing damage, but also, with the public. They're frustrated, they're cold, the whole works. So we're doing everything we can to keep our residents safe. We still have our warming shelter open. It will continue to stay open as long as there are people without electricity and there is need for that. I think we're down to about 50 people now. We've consolidated at the rec on North 7th Street. Our public works crews are still out doing debris cleanup and things as they can, making sure roads are safe and clear when they're able to get in there as well. Our PD is managing traffic. I know they've been helping out here at the IKE because it's been a lot of traffic and a lot of logistics going on. I told you, fire department's working the shelters. We just finished a large food and supply distribution behind the senior center, thanks to a very generous donation from Walmart. The churches in our community and other nonprofits and volunteers are out serving hot meals, providing warm spaces, availability to charge your devices. So take advantage of all of those. Also, I want to just remind everyone, because everyone is on deck and is working, and there's so much information going on right now, is the city's Facebook page. City of West Monroe's Facebook pages are the best way to keep up with the most up-to-date information. Samaritan's Purse is in town, Minuteman's in town. They're offering their services, food, supplies, warming shelters. All of that is all available. All that information's on the websites, on the website and the social media sites. And so stay tuned to those. And if you can't find what you're looking for, call us. We're here to help, and we will either help you or we will make sure you get the resources to do that. Again, I want to say thank you to everyone for being here and allowing us to get this information out. Thank you. I think Tony Bacon.
Thank you, Mayor. Next, we'd like to invite up Police Juror Tony Bacon.
Thank you. I think everybody heard when we were talking about the 10%, a lot of the areas that aren't going to be restored as of potentially tomorrow at 10. Mentioned Drew area, Claiborne, those are in my district. And so don't feel like you're alone, because I'm also one of those. You start talking about the remote parts of the parish, and I live out in the parish as well. I've been without electricity since Saturday morning at 10. But I have a lot of friends who work for Entergy, and I know that they're working really hard. I see the downed trees, and I see the debris that's being picked up and put out of their way to make it safe for them. What I would want to encourage residents to do out in the parish, out in the outskirts where I live, and a lot of the residents live who still don't have power, please be careful, be safe. Try to remember that Entergy is going to get to you. We want to make sure that the debris is cleared out of their way, that if you're starting to work on some of the debris in your yard, please be careful not to put it in the road, under a power line, over a gas or water meter. Just be careful. We're going to put something out from the police jury later today with more information around that. But I just want to encourage the safety of all of our residents, and that just know that we're in this together. We're very thankful that we do have a warming shelter here in the city of West Monroe. So thank you, Mayor, for that. I know that they've consolidated at the rec. I've been by there twice. I took king cakes by there yesterday. I've been delivering lots of king cakes, but everybody needs a little sweet treat right now, because we just need to encourage one another, check on one another, and like I said, we'll get through this together. So if you have any questions, like I said, the police jury's website, their Facebook page will be putting out information as well and sharing Entergy updates. So thank you again.
Thank you. Next, we'd like to invite up Bobby Amaker, Mayor of Lake Providence. Mayor.
Good afternoon. My name is Bobby Amaker. I'm the mayor of Lake Providence. And I just want to say the storm hit us Saturday night, And when I got up Sunday morning, the whole town was out of power. There was not one house in Lake Providence that had power. Everybody was sort of frozen in. They couldn't get out of the driveway. So much debris had fallen. And it was almost like we were up there without any hope. The next morning, Entergy rolled in there with about 80 trucks. And I want to thank them for what they've done. They're going to have about 90% of the town back up on power tomorrow. I think it's going to be tomorrow, the next day. But you know, through the whole thing, we managed to maintain water. Everybody had water most of the time. Now, we got a generator at the water plant the night before it hit. We beat it by just a couple of hours. But the next phase for us is going to be the cleanup. There's so much debris, there's no way that we're going to be able to do it alone. And I think FEMA's going to come in and help us. They're going to be able to go into people's yards around their houses and help clean up. But they're going to have to get on the list. And I'm going to post some stuff on Facebook when I get home to tell them what number to call and what to do to get on that list. But I want to personally thank Entergy for what they've done. When I left, I saw the trucks just down the road from my house. And one other thing too, the community we've had volunteers in the community that have come together and done some cooking. They were all out in the bank and parking lot in Lake Providence eating jambalaya when I left town. But I want to give a personal thanks to Entergy for what they've done. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. At this time, I'd like to invite up any other of our elected officials who we may have missed who'd like to say a few words.
I'm not elected.
Other officials.
I'm the co-op. I run a co-op.
All right. All right, well, that'll conclude today's press conference. For the media, all of this information will be available at entergy.com afterwards. Thank you.
Well, that was several officials with an update on the storm recoveries going on across our region. And I do want to highlight some of the important things that they did mention. They did say that this is unprecedented damage that we're seeing, which is why a lot of people are still without power. But they also say that they're hoping a majority will be restored by tomorrow evening. And when they say a majority, they mean around 90%. Of course, there will be 10% still maybe without power by tomorrow. But they are working diligently to get that up and running again. And they are expecting 15,000 more people to be restored today. So you should, or some of you should, be seeing power by the end of today as well. They also say they're going to send vegetation crews today and tomorrow and into the weekend to check for what they are calling, quote, hangers and leaners. And that is some of those trees that are hanging over those power lines and just looking a little dangerous, and start clearing some of that stuff out. As well as some of the debris that we've seen because of the ice storm that came through last weekend. Now, we will have more on what those officials said and some of the specifics that they gave online on our website, knoe.com. We will also have clips of some of the things that they said tonight in our 5, 6, and 10 o'clock shows on KNOE. So be sure to tune in for that. But that is all that we have for now. We'll keep you updated as more power is restored. Take care.